Welcome to the Point of Focus podcast. Jer's back to talk everything into reality.
We'll be back every week, all season long.
With your host, Jeremy Piccott.
Focusing only on things that we want to get bigger in our lives.
Made by coaches and collaborators coming together for the purpose of co-creating.
Enjoy or join the in-depth discussion, information, and how-tos.
Stay tuned for another episode of the Point of Focus podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Point of Focus podcast. In today's episode, we have Reiki Master, NLP Practitioner, and Poet, David Oliver. He's here today to share his story of how he overcame his difficulties, which allowed him to create a better and more positive life. Please welcome David Oliver.
Hi.
How you doing, David?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Brilliant.
So, tell us a little bit about your journey.
Well, the difficulty started pretty much from before I can remember, because my parents had my older brother and myself, and then their marriage ended. So it was decided that me and my brother should live with our father, and he brought us up. And I'd see my mother every few weeks on holidays and things like that. But it was always difficult, mostly when we'd leave after having seen her, because we'd enjoyed it, but then it was time to end. And it was especially difficult for my brother because he was a couple of years older than me, and I think he was more aware of the difficulties that they had, and he would get quite upset at the end of the time that we'd seen them. And I didn't really quite understand why at the time. But looking back, it was clear that it was obviously the trauma of the situation upset him. But we got on with our lives, and our father, brought us up really well. And it got to the point, the first kind of major traumatic situation for me was when our mother actually passed away when I was 18, which is 20 years ago now. And the most difficult thing for me was figuring out how I felt about not just that situation, but my life in general, because it was a very alien experience to go through, because it's not something that you really know how you're going to encounter until you do, I suppose. And it took me a lot of motivation to find things that I was enthusiastic about, because I lost a lot of my passion for life. I lost a lot of my enthusiasm for things and became very kind of jaded. And I realized it took me things that I really cared about enough to get motivated to get up and want to go and do it. So I was thankful that I at least had that understanding of what I felt, and that I found positive emotional things to work on rather than just sit and dwell on the negativity of things. And both me and my brother kind of got through it, went on to live better lives, become adults. And my kind of lucky situation that really helped me add to my positivity was a shop in Worcester in the West Midlands of England, where I grew up, that offered Reiki. And Reiki is an energy healing system which originated in Japan. And I walked into the shop because I'd never seen a shop like it. It was very neat and tidy. It had a lot of shiny crystals and spiritually related items in it that I'd never seen before. And I just kind of felt myself almost float into it. I don't even really remember thinking I intently wanted to go in. I just found myself walking into the building, and the lady at the shop counter told me that there was a gentleman offering Reiki treatments at the time. And I didn't even stop to think it. I just paid her the £20 that it cost for the treatment, walked into the room where I was showing where the practitioner was, made my introductions and lay down, and just shut my eyes as he told me to just sit and relax. and I felt almost like a tangible kind of like tugging sensation. It felt like he was, I think the way I described it, it's like cleaning stuff off the top of a pond, off a swimming pool, off the top layers, just gathering all the dirt. And it literally felt like he was sweeping it felt like the top of my head in a clockwise motion around my body to my feet and then back up again. Like he was just gathering up all the stress, all the anxiety, all the kind of stuck energy, and just removed it. And then after he'd finished, I said thank you, and I left the shop. And as I went and stood at the pavement outside, I stopped for a second, and I actually felt a huge difference in myself. I felt literally lighter. I felt more present. My mind felt still. I felt my feet on the ground. I felt the sun, because it was a nice sunny day, on my skin. And I realized I was much more aware of my actual presence at that very moment. And, you know, it's the epitome of mindfulness. I was completely aware of myself and where I was, rather than being anywhere else or thinking about anything else. And it really made an impression on me. And I thought, well, that's definitely, you know, being very effective. I knew nothing about it, so I knew that I wasn't creating a placebo effect in my mind, because I simply couldn't have known that I could feel that good. And people may say, oh, you know, lying down, relaxing, you're going to feel good. But there's a vast difference between just sitting and chilling and, you know, calming down to what I felt. But basically, it made a really strong impression on me. And then I went back to the shop a while later and spoke about it with the same lady that I'd met before. And she told me that there was a person local to the area who was teaching Reiki, and that I may want to go and learn it. So I took the lady's details, I made contact with her, and then a few weeks later, I attended the first, what's called an attunement, which is where you go through a kind of ritual process where the Reiki Master or teacher, to begin with, explained about the basics of what we were doing, why we were doing it. Didn't go too far into it because she wanted to do the actual ceremony first. So we were told to just sit still and close our eyes and let her do the work. And she did the attunement, which is a mix of drawing particular symbols around the person with the fingers in the air and setting an intention, also using breath to transfer energy to the person as well. And basically this process makes the person who's receiving this process vibrate at the frequency of the Reiki energy, so it becomes a lot more prominent in the person's energy field, because everybody has a connection to Reiki, because Reiki literally means spirit, breath of the spirit. It's the energy that flows through everything that gives it life. So obviously everybody has that, because everybody has energy and is alive, but the Reiki just enhances the connection to it, so you can feel it interacting with you more and use it as a tool to heal other people with, basically amplify their energy and do the same thing as that gentleman did to me, clear up all the negativity or stress that a person has and leave them feeling calm and relaxed and uplifted and energetic. So we spent the first day doing the attunements, and then after everyone had been attuned, we sat and talked about experiences a little bit, and then we were allowed to go home because it was the end of the day, for us to then return the day after to actually work more with it and practice it and go into things a bit more detailed, having had some time to let it settle in. And then when we did that, we were practicing on each other. My first really paranormal, I suppose, kind of experience, because it was, you know, it's beyond what I'd experienced as reality before. Basically, I was practicing on a lady, and we knew each other. I think we'd spoke to each other a little bit, but didn't really know anything about each other. But the point is, I was practicing Reiki on her, and my hands, when she was on her back, lying on her front for me to work on her back, my hands literally got pulled towards over her shoulder blades, and there was so much energy started coming out of my hands that I could feel it between, making the air thick between my hands and her back, and I could feel a kind of dense sensation in the air. So I tried to push my hand out to touch her back to see if I could, and it got to the point where I was about an inch away from her back, and I couldn't go any further. The air between my hand and her back was so dense with energy, I literally just couldn't push through it anymore. And then I let my hand relax, and it literally sprang up it bounced up, and I was like, well, again, that wasn't something I would make up, but I felt the force of the energy there, and that's what really kind of hit home of how different this was and how prominent it was and how strong it was, basically. So after that, we did the practice on each other. We talked a bit more about how to work with it in the future, what we could do with it. And then at the end of the day, we all left and, said our goodbyes. And I was just absolutely delighted that I'd found something that really ignited my passion for life again. To be honest, that was the best thing for me, was that it showed me that life wasn't just black or white and as normal as you think it can be, and amazing things can happen. And again, it was all off my own back. I didn't have anyone tell me that I needed to do this. I was guided to meet the lady, but it was something that I'd found for myself and I fully trusted in. And it may seem a bit weird to trust in something that out there, especially seeing I was in such a kind of different place anyway. But I enjoyed it. I knew it was a good thing, and I didn't deny myself of it. And then further down the line, I had a friend who I spoke to about Reiki, and he just didn't really seem to understand what it was. And it made me think there will be people that aren't aware of or interested in energy work. So I looked into more practical ways to help people, and I came across NLP Neuro-Linguistic Programming, which is a therapy that helps people change the way that they think about situations to the point where they may still be aware of it and they are still aware of the intensity of it, but the feelings that they have as a reaction aren't so overwhelming, so they don't get upset, they don't get anxious, they don't get stressed. Again, they're able to deal with it in a healthier way, so they can still live their lives and be aware of it, but not let it overwhelm them and get in the way of moving on, basically. So as we were practicing that, we did a situation where you visualize whatever traumatic experience it is, and you kind of take the intensity of the sensations out of it. So you take the color out, you take the sound out, you make it smaller so it feels more manageable. And it helps you understand that you can be in control of the situation rather than it in controlling you. And as we did that, I thought about my situation with my mum, and I must admit it upset me a lot. But having felt it and then going through the process brought up more understanding of the feelings and the reaction I was having to them, to my conscious brain. So I knew that I could work through them better because I understood it more. So that really kind of, again, was good evidence for me of what I was doing was worth doing because it worked for me. And I also see that having had that experience, I can now see it in other people and I'm working with them. I can understand what I'm looking for because I've felt it myself and been through it myself. So again, that was just off me deciding I wanted to improve myself and finding something that I could do to do that, to cater for different people. So my point is, even though I'd been through a difficult situation, I still allowed that determination to better myself, power me up through what I wanted to do and improve my situation rather than just deny myself of better things or let myself stay stuck in a place I didn't really want to be. And it's not always easy. I suppose you could look at it as, fate or destiny or whatever, but I just happened to have these opportunities turn up, which got me to the place I wanted to be. And some people may not be as lucky, but these days there are so many resources. And if you have access to a technology and the internet, you can find people all over the world now that are practicing these things and working in well-being or psychological fields. There's a lot of processes that are being discovered and a lot of work that's being put into ways that will suit different people to help them improve themselves. And again, if you want to get somewhere, then it may not always be an instant answer and it may not always be completely convenient for you to do what you want to do, but the chances are that there will be someone out there that may have either the help you need or know someone that does. And that's what I've been discovering a lot, is that people all over the world, the division between different cultures, I think, is not as prominent anymore because people are realizing that human beings are human beings, and a lot of people have the same needs, desires, and wants, and kind of perspective on things. There's still big cultural differences between a lot of different countries, but a good person is a good person, and a person in needs a person in needs, no matter what. And I feel that people are kind of opening up to that. So it's a lot more of a open conversation between people, and a lot more respect between humans for wanting people to be as happy and as well as they can be. So I feel that I've kind of been very lucky that I've grown up in this kind of growing culture where we have the access to the technology. We have this frame of mind that's growing of people wanting to help each other without any kind of prejudice at the basic point of it, really. And people just want to have a better time. Obviously, everyone's been through a lot of traumas recently, but I feel that I'm not on my own in this. A lot of people, including myself, have recognized that they needed to do something to improve their lives with the time and space we've been given, because of being separated from everyone. And that's kind of the third thing that's come along for me, is with writing my poetry. I had space and time on my hands because I was restricted from doing much else. I couldn't really go out and do any face-to-face therapy work because obviously we had to stay separated. And I thought, well, how can I get some positivity out there, even if it's just a little bit? And I just got this inspiration to write a poem. So I wrote the poem. I took a picture of the view out my window, which was a lovely blue sky, and I put that as the backdrop. And I sent it out, and I thought, well, if it makes someone's day that bit better, then that's great. So I did that, and then I enjoyed doing that, and I enjoyed the feelings it gave me. So I made it a daily habit. And now pretty much for the last 2 years, up until recently, where I've been working more, so I haven't really had time to at least write a poem and release it once a week. But otherwise it's been every day. And that got to the point where people were starting to pay attention to what I was doing, enjoying what I was writing, and then asked if I was going to write a book. So I used the Amazon self-publishing program to write that book and publish that. I wanted someone to do some really more kind of intricate art to go with my poem. So I made contact with who is now my friend and business partner, Trevor Barrett, who's a digital artist. He's also a Reiki Master, crystal healer, and just a really good partner, because we're both on the same page. And he kind of helped him because he wanted a reason to do his art, because he was kind of losing his kind of passion for it because it didn't feel like it was really getting anywhere. So having me come to him, it just seemed to be perfect timing. Again, I just took the opportunity. I asked a person who knew both of us if they knew anyone who would be able to help me, and they gave me Trevor's details. And again, I could have sat there and undenied about it, but I didn't. I just contacted him, thought I'll try it, see what happens. And it just started flowing really well. We just got on quite quickly, and we've both enjoyed working together. So now we have our own business, and me and him are directors of our own company, which is something I never thought I'd really do. But again, I haven't denied myself of it. I haven't stopped to go, what if this and what if that, what if it doesn't work? We've taken the opportunity, and it's taken time to grow, but it's there. We have the things that we want, and it's making me much happier to be in that situation. And I never forget the things that have happened in my past, but I'm not ever going to let them dictate the way that I feel now. I still feel, stressed sometimes, because everybody does, but I've realized that I can do a lot more than I used to think I could, and I have done. Also, for my own personal health, I've started Taekwondo and Thai boxing. I saw an advert for a free first lesson and a free branded vest to wear in the lessons. And again, I could have just turned that down and gone, no, I'm not going to do that. But I didn't. I took the opportunity. I thought, well, if I don't like it, I don't like it. I don't have to carry on. But I took the opportunity. I signed up to when the next available lesson was, and I went and did it. And I was more active in those 45 minutes I had been for a long time. And it was tiring and it was hard work, but I felt great after. And I've carried on doing that. I've also taken on the Taekwondo because I like the kind of patterns in the form of working with that kind of slower in some ways way of moving, but it's a different mindset. It's about, it fits into the kind of thinking that I like of learning patterns, and it helps you with your memory, it helps you with muscle memory, and it just feels quite almost like a meditation for me doing martial arts, because I'm not thinking about anything else but what I'm doing there and then, and I like that side of it. I like focusing on just what's in front of me, not because I have to escape from anything else, want to get away from it, but just to be able to show my brain that it can just focus on what it's doing. It's the same with the poetry. It's a similar thing in a way. It's creating something that's good for you at the time and enjoyable, and also just takes your brain away from the kind of hazardous, kind of random situations that are going on in the world at the moment. You have to be aware of them, but I felt that if I was to focus on those things too much, that it leaves you feeling very kind of scattered all over the place and not like you're really getting anywhere. And I was feeling that could become a problem, because when, especially 2020, when the impact of the virus really started and everybody was so confused, it was confusing me. I was like, well, what do I do? I can't really do anything outside of where I am. I can't really do what I like doing with, trying to work with clients to help them with their situation. But that was the time, and it still is, where people need help more than ever. So I've kind of focused on looking after myself a lot more, doing what I can with what I've got in front of me. And I also feel that through these experiences and through what I'm saying today, it's actually a positive thing. I'm, like I said, I don't think everybody always has it. Things come to them maybe as easily as some things have for me because of my situation. But you can generally look at life with a positive outlook. There's still a lot of good things out there. There's still a lot of good things going on. And if you just let yourself do it, sometimes it can be a lot easier, because a lot of people who was in difficult situations, I've noticed, stay in those situations because they're almost scared to go anywhere else. Even if it's not good for them, it's familiar to them. So they stay there and they're worried to go out anywhere else. And if they do, then they're worried about what happens if. But the only way I think that we should look at things is everything that's happened has because someone's taken a chance, pretty much, hasn't it? Something's evolved, something's grown, it's become, established as what it is. But then someone's going, well, what if I try this and what if I try that? If we don't keep trying things and learning things, then we're not going to get any further than where we are. And a lot of things that may seem daunting or scary to begin with aren't anywhere near as overwhelming or scary when you're actually doing them. Like with the martial arts, I was worried. I thought, what if I have to stop and have a breath, because I'm not the fittest of people. But I didn't let that get in the way. I went and did it. And to be honest, after I'd done it, then I stopped and took a breath and went, oh, that really, that's been quite difficult. But at the time, I just got on with it. Because when you're in the frame of mind where you're just doing something, you don't really have much chance to think too far outside of the box than what you're doing. And sometimes that's a really good thing, because you can just get through it and then stop and think about it and establish if you liked it or if you didn't. And there's just, unless someone's really physically stopping you doing something, or you can't do it for physical reasons, or if it really is that overwhelming that it does really become an issue for you to even think about moving to somewhere because anxiety or stress is too much, then there isn't really many reasons why you can't do things. And I think a lot of people would be surprised with how much they're capable of if they're tried. Like me with the Reiki, I never thought, someone said to me, oh yeah, you can have this energy that comes through you that heals people and you can feel it. I'd look at them and I'd be polite, but I might think, well, you're a bit crazy. But having done it and having gone through it and understanding it, I'm just really glad that I did. I gave it a chance, and it's paid off because it's worked really well for me and it's made my life a lot better. And now with these things that I've been doing with like the martial arts, there I've been jumping up and kicking things. I've been, running around, making movements I never thought my body could do, basically. And so really, really happy that I've been able to do that after, and enjoying it. And people might think martial arts is it's violent, but I don't do it for that. Like I said, I do it because of the mindfulness aspect of it, but I also enjoy learning what my body and my brain can do. It's an experience that I feel has helped me become a more rounded person, because normally I'm very calm and very relaxed. So to learn what it's like to be able to move quickly and move with that force and that speed and have that control of your body, I see it just as a beneficial experience for a person to have. Doesn't mean you have to go and fight people. I'm not going to go and get in fights. But if I do happen to have someone that wants to threaten me or hurt me, I have more knowledge of the best way to deal with it now. I mean, the first thing you generally do is, run away if you can. But if you have to face up to it, at least you know that your body's capable of making those movements quickly enough to make yourself safe, I think. But again, I hope that doesn't happen. But it's nice to know that if I have to do it, then I may be able to deal with it and stay healthy and not get hurt. But again, it's just an experience that I feel has helped me. And I'm looking at other things. Like today, I also went to a Japanese Taiko drumming group. I used to play drums when I was younger, and that kind of stopped because the band I was in, I left, and then things got in the way with being able to be around people. But I went to do that today, and it was a whole new experience for new people. But again, I didn't stop and worry about it. I listened to the instructor, I followed the instructions, and found myself doing it. And 2 hours just disappeared like that. And I've just come home from that and thinking, I can't wait till the next one. It's every month. And in September, they're actually going to be doing a performance for a Japanese company based in England. So I'm going to be able to go and do that performance, and that's just going to be amazing, to be honest. But again, it's another opportunity that I never even would have had if I hadn't bothered to take that first step. Then it wouldn't have turned into what it does. So yeah, again, it's just letting yourself do it rather than not. I mean, if it's really going to be, like I said, unhealthy for you to do, then you don't have to force yourself into it. But if not, then I feel my lesson that I've learned is it's better to try it, and then if you don't like it, don't do it again, rather than not, and then wonder what would have happened if you had, because you can overwhelm yourself so much questioning what would have happened if you'd done something, but you're never going to know because you haven't done it. It is that simple. But if you have done it and you've enjoyed it, that's great. If not, then you just talk it down to experience and go, well, I won't do that again. I'll look at something else. And these days, there are so many things that you can do that, like I said, within the therapeutic world, there's all different kinds of methods and research being done to understand what works for people. There's all different cultural, I'm going and playing Japanese drums. A few years ago, I probably wouldn't have been able to do that, but people are taking interest. People, the guy who teaches it went to Japan and learnt it there. So, he understands the authenticity of it, and he wanted to bring that to England or to Wales as well, because he's Welsh and lives just over the border. But yeah, basically, people are wanting to have all good experiences and offering opportunities to have them. So it may take time for some places to have things develop, because people might just not have thought to go and do it. But apart from physical things where you need to be there and then, there's a lot of different groups on the internet, on Facebook, for different cultures, different ways of looking at life. It's a lot about spirituality, from the basics of learning what it means to more advanced things, to using your different skills with healing and meditations and things like that. There's loads of art as well at the moment. So many people have done what I've done and developed their art to the point where they're professional now. And some of the things that people are producing is literally mind-blowing. It's incredible, the detail people are putting in, the skills. I mean, I don't know if you've seen some of the 3D tattoos that people are doing these days.
3D tattoos, no.
Yeah, check it out. It's absolutely insane. It's really, really, really good. But yeah, people are basically upskilling to the point where I feel it is in a weird way, it's the start of an evolution of people. People are kind of still keeping some of the old kind of traits that have come from their parents and grandparents. But I think modern human beings these days are realizing that things aren't so restrictively stoic in their attitude. As in, people are there's still things that need sorting out, but people with various labels, I suppose, with sexuality and cultural beliefs in the rights of, the basics of the rights of females, the rights of people with different sexualities. People are realizing that there's no reason why anyone should be oppressed simply because of their attitude or their personality traits, I suppose. And like I said, people are wanting people to have good experiences and just enjoy life, because we've got a lot of very difficult situations at the moment, but the world is an amazing place full of lots of amazing things to go and see and do, and it just seems to be getting more and more creative, and people are trying more and more to give themselves and other people experiences that are going to add value to their lives. I mean, that's kind of the main inspiration behind what I do. Is I've felt difficulty happen. I've lost people. I've had to deal with stuff, but I want to, as much as I can in a healthy way, help other people see that they can improve on their difficulties and how to help them with that, or teach them how to do it themselves. With the Reiki, I can teach people how to do that as a master. So I don't necessarily have to have them as a client, but I can attune them to it, and then they can explore it themselves and do what they want with it. At the moment, I've also collaborated, myself, Trevor, my business partner, and another person are looking at creating a package to help with helping people relax as much as possible. So we're going to use Reiki, we're going to use the NLP to help with the anxiety aspect of things, going to use crystal therapy, aromatherapy, and massage as well, and incorporate it all into an environment where you can kind of cater for most people with different types of needs and desires and tastes and things, just to help them relax. Because I think that's, it's nice to heal, it's nice to do a lot of intricate things, but to just basically be able to just stop and calm yourself down, I feel is one of the most important things a lot of people need to do at the moment, because the constant stress that's been caused by dealing with the virus, and the other situations that are going on in the world at the moment. Again, you have to accept it's the truth, because it is, but it's nice to just have a break away from things sometimes, isn't it, and stop. So that's the thing that I'm looking at collaborating with and creating to help people. And again, I just thought I'll try it. I'll find a place hopefully I'll be able to work from. I'll wait for them to get back to me, but we'll put it together, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. It's not the end of the world, but it's something to try. And it's just about basically finding what people want. And like I said, I believe that relaxation is a very important thing, because so many people are anxious and stressed, and I've met some people that over the last couple of years, because of restrictions, they've had people pass away, and I haven't even been able to have a funeral for them. So many things that we took for granted were just denied because of the practical situation. So I'm hoping to try to lessen the impact of that a bit as much as I can. I'd love to be able to help everybody relax, but obviously that is an impossible thing. So within reason with what I can do, I'm trying to think of the best ways that I can give people these opportunities to obviously help myself grow my business, because it's something that I want to do and it's something that I believe in, but also provide things that are really worth paying time and money for, to have those experiences to better their lives. So I'll keep you updated with how that goes. But yeah, I'm sure that it's going to work out. I don't know how long it's going to take, but I think that it's something that people need. Everybody needs to be generally healthy in whatever way they can at the moment. So again, there's people who are wanting to help do that, such as yourself, with the knowledge that you've got and with the the nutrition plans. It's a practical thing, but it's something that I think a lot of people kind of tend to look over. Is they do exercise and they may go out and work out or whatever, but I've become very aware of, since I've been talking to you, I've been looking at a lot of videos about various diets, various exercise plans and routines and stuff. And again, there's a lot of knowledge out there. So, one thing might work for someone, might not work for someone else, but there's information out there. There's research that's been done. People have looked at it in detail to work out the best things that work for people. And I feel that it's quite a long thing to do, because some people don't even have access to really healthy fruit and vegetables. Everything's growing quickly for convenience rather than for quality these days, isn't it? In the majority it is. So I think it's good that people become aware of the quality of the food that they're eating as well. With animals, it's not a pleasant subject, but again, there's more evidence of what actually happens in farms. And yeah, it's a difficult situation to talk about because of the way the animals are treated. It's some of it's beyond cruel, but again, people become more aware of it and being able to make those choices and live a better life. So that's where I look at stuff as, difficult things come up, but the way things are at the moment, I'm seeing these changes in the world with the structure of things and with the conflicts that we've got, that it's a difficult time, but it's all making room for better things to grow. I feel it's like it's kind of breaking up the hard surface of stuff, leaving that space and letting things be revealed that were kind of covered up before by the structure that people are given to things, and the kind of not at the time ignorant, but now ignorant perspective that people have got on things. Things have evolved, things are changing. These are very changeable times in overall in culture, thinking, the treatment of the world that we're living in. So I find it quite interesting and intriguing to be alive at this time of the Earth's lifetime. And, being a 38-year-old man now is very unique in the fact that I still have my fun and I still do things, but I do feel I'm becoming very much just, my mind is growing into that of a youngish man in this time. So I'm finding I have different needs, I have different habits, I have different things I care about. And I'm not saying that, anyone should be denied of their youth and their childhood, but I think a lot of other people also agree that making people aware as soon as they can comprehend what's going on in the world is the better, so then they can make choices for themselves. Because there's only so much you can control and there's only so much you can do with what you've got. But I think these days, with the access to the information that we have, people should be made aware and are becoming aware of the choices that they have more than they did a few years ago, when it comes to what they want to do with their lives, how they want to live, how they want to express themselves, what things they need to be aware of. Because at the moment, I work for my everyday job as a teaching assistant, and I'm working with children whose priorities aren't about their future or their job or their career or their exams. It's more about what they're doing for the day, seeing their friends. And especially I recognize that there's no point trying to keep going on at them about the importance of things they need to do, because they simply aren't in a place to comprehend and work with that. So you have to be patient, but it's also a good experience in schools for children to be as they have been from some lessons, I've been talking about events in the world and the effects that they have, and not necessarily focusing on them too much, but being aware of them. Because I feel that everybody, and especially younger people, just need to, as much as they can, be prepared for what's going to happen in the future and where it's going to go. Because I can't imagine in 10 years' time, when some of these children are getting to the point where they've maybe gone on to further education to get jobs, what situation the world's going to be in, because it's been a very changeable kind of 10, 20 years anyway. So I don't know where it's going to go. But I feel that, again, with the things that I'm doing and things other people are doing, being able to do things with as much of a positive aspect as possible, I think is essential. And I really do think that we need to be, as a species and as the kind of societies that we're growing, we need to be more, how do I put it, more economical with what we've got to begin with, and a lot more savvy with the things that we've got. We have the opportunities for so many people around the world to communicate with each other, to coordinate things in a better way. And I think that is the thing that needs to be utilized more than anything else. It's all good having separate nations and separate countries, and I understand people have, pride in their nationality and they have their sociological setup for the way that their countries and their cultures work. But there is a lot more that I think could be done if people wanted to coordinate it and work together. It is slowly happening, but I think it needs to happen faster. And I think that people need to realize that we have our leaders and, we have our governments and stuff, but as people, we can do a lot more to help ourselves, I feel. And I think that is something that I'm going to try and encourage, and I hope other people do as well. I think a lot of people feel the same, so don't think I'm on my own. But I think a lot of people are worried that if they do try, to express themselves too much, that again they might be criticised or maybe worried about what people think. But I feel the more communication and more people are going to realise that people all over the world have similar understanding of things and have similar needs and desires, and different things that they think may be unique to them that make them feel out of place. It may help them realise that there's a lot of other people who are in the same situation, and that might make them feel better because they know they're not completely on their own, and they have support networks and groups and people they can talk to with experience that can help them to be more satisfied with who they are, I think. And so there's so much stuff that can be done, and there's so many interesting things to do. And I'm going to go back to my basic point, is if you have the opportunity to look for things or try things, then if you can, don't deny yourself of it, because you never know what might happen. It could be awesome. It might not be great, but you don't have to do it again. But there is so much stuff you can do and so many experiences to be had at this time of life. It's pretty amazing, to be honest. I think some of the things that I've experienced, and I think other people are experiencing, life is really a very interesting ride at the moment, I think is the best way to put it.
There's a lot going on for sure. And I totally agree with you. I mean, society is all made up of individuals, right? So if we all made ourselves better individuals, then the whole thing would be better. Yeah.
I suppose that's the thing is, you be aware of what people think of you and be aware of society, but the only person that's really going to know what's going on with you is yourself in your head. So as long as you're not doing any harm, to yourself or others, then do whatever you need to do to feel better and happy, because life's for living. Yeah. So you might as well, if you're going to wake up every day and face the day and do something, you might as well enjoy it rather than not, if you can, because again, unless someone's trying to really oppress your movements or your rights, then if you're free to do what you want to do, then go and take advantage of it. Sign up to a class, go and try it, learn something new. Use the facilities if you have things like the internet to find out what's going around the world. And if you need to make money, but the place you're in isn't really making money, there's lots of different ways that you can earn money if you need to, if you're clever about it. There's lots of opportunities that are there for the taking, really. So again, if you're not doing anything to offend anyone or to hurt yourself or anyone else, then there's nothing really stopping you trying it, is there?
No, absolutely.
Like I said, I may have been lucky with some of the opportunities I've got, but I'm really in a very happy place at the moment. I've got my job I like doing because I'm helping people. I've got my hobbies that I like to do, which are healthy for me, that I find make my life more enjoyable. It's helping my health. It's helping my mental health. My brain feels so direct and organized, but calm as well at the moment. It's somewhere that 20 years ago I was nowhere near being like this. I didn't even think I'd be able to. I was so overwhelmed by just the grief and the stress of what I was going through that I didn't know what I was going to do with myself. All I knew was I didn't want to stay there.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's all you need. Just if you can, just get up and go and do something and break out of that situation. You don't have to stay there. You have to go through the grieving process, if that's a natural thing, but you don't have to stay in that place where everything feels difficult. It's hard work to get out of it, but once you do, you won't realize how free you can be, I don't feel, until you get there. But when you do, and then you start feeling happy, it's amazing. It really is. Life can be really enjoyable, even if you've had difficult times. There are better things to focus on. So if you can, try and do that.
Awesome. Totally agree. That's a great story, David. I appreciate you taking the time to take us through that.
No, thank you for giving me the opportunity. I really appreciate it.
No, absolutely. And I fully agree with what you said. And there's lots of stuff that your mind tries to talk you out of as well, even when you do enjoy it, Yeah. So that's awesome.
Well, yeah, if you get to a situation where it's like that, just try and stay consistent. And if you feel that you're worried about doing the next part, if you've already done it, just look back at what you've already done and trust your own evidence of what you've experienced and go, well, I did it last time. So again, unless there's something that's really stopping you, there's no reason why you can't carry on doing it. I've had some time off from things because of situations, but I've got back up on it and I'm back to where I was, and I'm loving it. And I'm just glad that I've been able to get up and go and do it. Again, it hurts. It's a bit sore sometimes doing with the exercises and stuff, but the feeling you get once you've achieved it is, I don't think it can be matched, really. It's awesome.
I agree fully. Especially things like martial arts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Things that are good for you, because there's so many bad habits that we've had to uncreate to make room for some of the good ones too.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, don't be stupid and don't push yourself if it hurts too much. But if it's good for you, get up and go. I find that's the one thing that I noticed these last few days is I've gone from going, oh, I've got to get up and do this and know I can do it, to not even thinking about it, just getting into the routine of doing it, finding myself by the time I've really stopped to think about it, I'm near the building I need to be at. I walk in, sign in, get ready, get into the room, and that 45 minutes or however long goes by. And then the next thing you do, you sat back at home going, oh, I've just done that. And it's a lot. It's not a small thing to do, but it doesn't seem anywhere near as big as your brain make it out to be. Once you've done it and you've achieved it, then job done, and then you can just try and sit back and relax, or sit and let your muscles recover and then think, why have I done that? And then you realize it's because you knew it was good and you're going to go and do it again. And that's what I like.
good.
Is like, I know that I'm not going to stop again. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'm going to keep doing it until it comes to a point in my life where I physically can't. That's the really nice thing, is once you blow away those ideas of limitations that you put on yourself, you'll be amazed. Like I said before, you'll be amazed at what you can achieve. It really is awesome when you do, 50 kicks in one go, and you think, how would anyone do that? And then you find yourself, you've done it, and then you want to do it again. And that's the thing. I like the fact I'm naturally happy and I'm laughing about these things, because again, that was a place I never really thought I'd be a few years ago, and I genuinely am. Again, like I said, there's still some things I don't like, and there's some things that cause me difficulty, but overall, I'm just so cheerful because I'm enjoying my life, and that's the best thing. That is, it boils down to it. If you can actually smile and genuinely mean it, then that's awesome. And that's what I want more people to be able to do.
I agree 100%.
Be happy with life.
100%. That's awesome, David. Is there anything else you want to share with everybody?
If I can talk about access to my business things, if people want to have a look at therapies and stuff, the website is www.oliver-and-barretts, which is BARRETTS.co.uk. Oliver and Barretts is on Facebook. We've got an Instagram as well, and we have a variety of the information about the therapies that we do and the services we provide. We've got the book of poetry that Trevor designed the cover for and edited for me. It's called Find Your Star. You can buy it through the website and also through Amazon. And we've got a blog with various things about aspects of spirituality, from meditation to crystal therapies, to awareness of the world and the situation that it's in ecologically as well. And we just want to basically have people enjoy what we're doing. We'd love them to want to put our art up on their walls, or read the book, or have the therapies from us, or the readings. There's a whole range of different things that we do. If people want to have a look, and if they want to get in contact, if they want to learn anything, if they want to know anything, then we'll happily help them with that. All our details on the website. So I'll be looking forward to if we hear anybody get in contact with us and see what they want to know. But no, thank you very much for this. It's been brilliant.
David, I appreciate every second. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Cheers.
All right. David Oliver, everybody.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Have a good one.